Hello and welcome to my podcast. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for taking the time. As always, it is an honor to be here with you today. And I made some time. I went and sat on the floor for about 15 minutes. I did some light meditation and, trying to slow down and just be quiet and just tap into myself, and that's so important. It's so crucial that we do that. So I didn't know what I wanted to talk about today, but I had a few topics in mind. Originally, I was going to do a video on continuing the signs in love, and I was going to do Cancer in Venus. But today I thought, no, I'm going to do something different. So I'm going to do some house cleaning or some kind of disclaimer talk first. And let's have a chat. I'm going to share my heart. I do that in all of my videos. And, today I'm going to be tackling a very sensitive and serious topic that is very important. Probably one of the most important conversations anyone can really ever have, because this type of topic or this conversation can really shift the direction of someone's whole life. So that being said, welcome to my channel once again. And I've noticed that my subscriber count did just clock over 5,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. And to anyone out there that is continuing to listen to my podcast, wherever you are in the world, whatever country you're in, whether you're driving a new car, whether you're vacuuming, cleaning, whatever it is that you're doing, maybe you're going for a walk, you've got your headphones in, it means a lot. So thank you. It makes me feel less alone. And you're not alone. It's not true. You're not alone. Please don't believe that you are, because I have to tell myself that every day. So I decided to pick a topic, and that topic is coming out of the closet, or should I say the dangers of being in the closet. So I really thought, what is it that I could bring up today? What can I really serve? What is the highest truth? What is the topic that really affects me a lot and isn't really mentioned a lot? And it's important to notice this, by the way, because I feel like topics that aren't really talked about so much need to be shared. And I'm only doing this from a place of love. Otherwise, I wouldn't even bother. So this is my truth to the world. This is my real value. So before I get on with that, this video was a topic that I was asked to talk about by a friend. So I am going to be sending a link to you. I know that you asked me to do this a few weeks ago because we talked about this. And I just think you should hear it. So closeted people, closeted men in particular, the dangers of really being in the closet is absolutely catastrophic. It really, really is. It's very crucial that we are able to live a life of authenticity, that we're able to communicate, or we're unafraid, should I say, to communicate who we are to other people in our lives, like our family, like our parents, like our friends. By the way, if you are out there and you're in a Middle Eastern country, if you're in Dubai, if you're in a very dangerous situation that is life and death, Maybe you're in a relationship with someone, a narcissist, whatever that might be. Maybe you're living underneath someone else's roof. Whatever, I'm going to have to get that on the table. Let's just put that on the table and then take that off the table before I get into this even more. Okay, I am communicating to you, but I'm not telling you to do anything that could get yourself killed. Okay, I have lost friends to gay assault. I have lost friends, I've lost people that I've known have disappeared over the years. And I've known a lot of different people I've had a lot of vast experience dealing with people from all nationalities, from all walks of life, from all different types of religions. So please, if you are in a situation where you are not safe to come out, or you can't for whatever reason because someone you love might be hurt, this video isn't in the context of asking you to do anything. I'm just stating simply from my heart the truth of this topic. Okay? If you are listening to this video and you are hiding and you are living in an underground lifestyle that really obviously can't yield anything, and you are being deceitful to other people, and you are being deceitful to yourself, most of all, obviously goes without saying, the most important relationship that you can have is obviously with yourself first, it's with us, then this video is a wake-up call for you. I am now speaking directly to you, to your heart from mine. So please be advised that this only comes from a place of the highest frequency possible, which is love. Okay? And the highest frequency possible is truth. And we live in a world that is so manipulative of truth, skewering truth, fragmenting truth. Sometimes there's just so much coming in and there's just so much inauthenticity, and all of the pretend games that we make up. Some people, it's like a dark forest. Maybe I'm reaching out right now. My real name is Bringer of Light. Light bringer is the definition of my real name. I'm not a dark person as such. I don't think that I am. I'm a person that shines light on the darkness. So if you don't like the reflection, don't blame it on the mirror. Okay? It can't hurt you if it's not true. Maybe you are so far lost in your own twisted darkness, then let this podcast be the voice of reason, of truth, to bring you back from that dark forest. Because when you start to find your way out of the dark forest of lies, shame, self-loathing, we can embrace light, which is the truth. That being said, all things are born in darkness. Everything came from darkness. The primordial ooze came from darkness. We came out of darkness when we came out of the womb. Into the light we must go. The darker the light, or the darker, the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. Goes without saying. So I'm communicating to you, all right? Coming out is a completion of yourself. It is a completion that needs to take place within yourself for healthy living on a physical level, on a spiritual level, on a psychological level, on all levels of the body. What creates problems and patterns in our psychological well-being is when we avoid who we are, when we lie about who we are, when we pretend, when we invent things in our heads that simply are just not true. And this is the thing for a lot of people that are in the occult. Now I'm taking off my psychology hat and I'm just saying it now, in the occult world or whatever field that you're in, you know where you're at. You know in your heart what your level of ability is when you wake up in the morning. Okay, because you're either following that path and doing the work or you're not. And it's okay to take breaks from things from time to time. In fact, I'm taking a break right now from doing my art. But that's not what I'm talking about. At some point in our life, we have to understand that life is really short. And if we expect other people to be authentic with us, then we have to be authentic with them. How would that be fair of you to expect others to show them for them to show you who they are, but how can they connect with you if you don't show them who you are? And I'm not talking about putting your best foot forward. I'm not talking about showing them the side that you want them to see, like you're selling something. I'm not talking about that. We have to be able to, in the spiritual world and in psychology, stand in front of a mirror naked. Spirituality is mastery of self. To be able to stand in front of what you see before you and be completely comfortable with that. This is one of the hardest, or is, in fact, the hardest thing you can do. This is shadow work. We are talking about shadow work right here. Now, I've said it once and I'll say it again. If you don't have a level of self-awareness, you can't do shadow work. If you don't have shadow work in your practice, or any level of self-awareness for that matter, you have no there is no spirituality here. There's nothing there. Okay, you're just playing make-believe. And that's really what it is. If we want others to not be absent with us, we have to complete the psychological circle that needs to occur within ourselves. And it comes down to authenticity, being true to who we really are. And if this part of us, this self-respect part of us, is not developed fully, I mean, could you imagine what type of relationships that person's going to create? If you have injury, fractured something in your psychological development, if you have a level of inauthenticity or incompletion within yourself, the relationships that you're going to have with other people are going to be exactly the same. You can't give something that you simply don't have. Okay? So it's kind of like flexing a muscle of truth, a muscle that needs to become developed. And as a result, life requires this muscle to become developed. When it's not worked, goes without saying, when we don't use it, we lose it. And life requires us to stand and be true to ourselves, not walk away and be like, oh, I'm not doing it, I'm not flexing that muscle, it hurts. Understanding the process, and I'm going to say this really simply, I'm trying to cut this as simply as I possibly can. It really is about the completion of habits that we create in ourselves. Think about it from this point of view. If you were cleaning out your car and you decided that you just wouldn't clean out one side of your car, or you would leave one seat or the bottom of the car uncleaned. You were vacuuming it, you were cleaning it, but that part of the car is incomplete. You haven't cleaned it. It's still there. It's still dirty. And rather than taking the time to completely clean the car, you just walk away. I know this is a very simplified kind of analogy, but this is what I'm kind of going for here, is that that part of you is not completed. So when we're talking about people that are in the closet, we are talking here about the absence of authenticity with their true identity, with being able to disclose who you are and sharing with others who you really are. If that completion doesn't take place, part of that car is going to start spreading itself into the rest of the car. It's going to continue to get dirty. The mold in that area that you didn't clean is going to start to fester. The snakes under the carpet are going to start writhing and squirming. The bacteria is going to spread because you left it dirty. This is an incomplete part of you, and it's going to affect every area of your life. I know this is a weird analogy to give you, but it really is. One of the things that I've noticed a lot of people that are quite manipulative will do, narcissists do this quite a lot, is that they like to departmentalize or compartmentalize themselves into aspects of themselves that really allows them to get away with getting off the hook of treating other people terribly. And you know what I'm talking about, okay? The dangers of not completing yourself are absolutely astronomical because we don't have time to play games. We don't have time for you to be inauthentic, like not to be authentic with yourself. Because what you're going to do is you're going to create relationships with people that are not authentic. And we can't prolong something that isn't real. So I'm asking you, get real with yourself. Activate that muscle within yourself. We tend to want to walk away from the completion process of ourselves because it involves some level of psychological discomfort. But you see, the problem is avoiding discomfort is only going to make it worse. Failure to complete the coming out process is going to create discomfort on levels for yourself and others. That is just going to be to a point where you're going to ruin other people. One of the things I heard the other day, and it got me right in the heart, was one of the cruelest things or the cruelest thing a person can do to another human being is lie to them. Because when you create a lie, you're creating a world with that person. That person believes that that's real. That person is investing into that lie that you've created with them. And of course, as it starts to, the mask starts to slip, you start to slip, the character starts to get tired. It's like tensing a muscle and it gets tired. After a while, it can't hold. They begin to see the lie. The subconscious begins to fester and bubble up in really disturbing ways. Radical acceptance is key to life, to understand that life is just the way it is. And walking and moving through that discomfort is what we're supposed to do. When you walk away, it's like walking away from yourself. You can't walk away from yourself. You are yourself. You were always gay. You've tried to convince other people that you're not, but you are. No amount of convincing others is going to work if you're not truly convinced, because you're denying, deflecting, and disowning that is of what is you. You were always gay to begin with. Coming out is the freedom and truth to live your truth and set yourself free from your lies. So something magical and wonderful might be able to happen. But if you're not willing to tell the truth about who you are, nothing can happen. Nothing real anyway. And we're not going to live for 500 years. I am not going to live for 500 years. Neither, we don't have time for this. Life is moving really quick. It is so quick. And you can't win a fight with yourself because you are both sides. When you complete the circle, think of it like a circle that comes back around to itself. There's a flow there. A straight line has a certain level of flow, but not like a circle does. The completion of self is that now people around you can really accept and see you. They can hear you. You're being authentic now. Now, if you had a controlling parent that never allowed you to develop and you had to kind of go into that way of being, well, then at some point, I've had to own this. Let me share a little something with you. I'm not responsible for what happened to me and all of the horrible things that people have done to me, but I am responsible for working on myself to get out of it, because no one else outside of me, or you for that matter, is going to come and do that for you. We have to be willing to do the cleanup work for ourselves. That's another video for another time, perhaps. And I will give you some tips on how to close the loops, which I've had to work so damn hard and continue to work on every day. But that's not what we're talking about. Today, I'm talking about coming out. I'm talking about you facing the psychological discomfort in the moment and owning what belongs to you. Own your truth. We must own what the fuck belongs to us. And as soon as you do, you'll be able to realize all of the time wasting and you should be ashamed. You should be you should be apologetic for the trauma that you would have caused other people in your lies, for not having the courage, for lacking the courage to truly walk a path that is who you really are. Now, we're creatures of habit. We are. And if someone's been living in some level of cognitive dissonance for over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, well, I'm sorry, my friends, it's just not going to happen. At some point, it's kind of like a write-off, because they're not going to have the relatedness skills within themselves to start to turn that around. Because the false self, the ego, is so concerned about what other people think, it created a narrative that really is more about what other people think than it is about what you think in yourself. And so you'll find a lot of these people that are closeted are quite narcissistic, are quite psychotic, and are quite controlling, actually. A lot of them are very controlling in a very significant way because they feel so out of control within themselves. And they lack that courage to greatness, to the essence of themselves, where they can actually stop trying to put all of these controlling mechanisms over other people and dominating other people, and start owning the truth about who they really are. Stop trying to make up excuses and trying to decompartmentalize yourself. Because we just don't have time for that. That's why relationships with closeted people, relationships with closeted men, never work. They can't. And that's really what it is. If you're rejecting the aspect of yourself that's in another person, and then you want to have a relationship with them, that's actually sadomasochistic to a certain level, because you are reducing someone to a body part. You're dehumanizing them. You're not respecting their soul. You're not respecting who they are. It's all about you when you're horny, when your wife's away, when it's convenient for you, when you're coming home from the gym. That's why if you're dating someone that is closeted, this is a very dangerous zone. Dangerous how? Well, they're pulling you back into the closet with them. They're going to regress you. All of the work that you've done on yourself to own your truth and be authentic with who you are. They're going to pull you straight back and drag you straight back into this underground, or should I say lured back into this underground zone that is usually sexual addictions, which really is just a substitute for lack of completion. That completion in itself is completedness of the circle of self. This is how it takes place, and that's why we need spirituality desperately in our lives. If I meet someone and there's no level of spirituality, there's no level of self-discovery, there's no commitment to evolution, I can't connect with someone that isn't connected with themselves. I wouldn't get involved with someone like that. And that goes without saying. When I meet someone that shows lack of authenticity and shows lack of self-awareness, or in psychology, we have a term called indifference and ambivalence, I let them go. And I've completely eradicated and removed most, or if not every single person that is closeted. And this is why I'm advancing, because I don't want people around me that aren't able to own their truth. Because what the hell are they going to do for me? They can't give me something that they don't have. And if they're hiding a really major aspect about themselves, well, then the next natural question would be, well, what else are you hiding? If you can hide this, and a lot of these men in particular are married. They have a wife and kids and a beautiful family. And I believe a lot of the time the wives know, the girlfriends know that their husband doesn't want them. And as a result, it's very cowardly, because it really keeps their partner, the wife or their significant other, in basically a trapped relationship where they get to have their cake and eat it too, and she doesn't. Wasting their time, wasting another person's life away, living in a lie is more dangerous than anything. We're talking cancers. We're talking serious health problems. The health problems that come from the spiritual causes and the level of stress that comes with not being authentic is off the charts. And this is what it is. Come back to your truth. Stop inventing things. Stop making things up. Stop pretending. Stop trying to control things. Surrender to life as it is. Not something that you've cooked up in your head and try to maintain. It must be exhausting. It must be absolutely exhausting to do this, to keep pretending and holding this mask. At some point, when you let it go, whatever will be, will be. And as soon as you do, you're doing yourself a favor, because you're actually now, you're really speeding up the process where you can actually have the revelations and insights that are required to live a life of integrity. And this is what we're here for. No matter how bad it goes, no matter how hard it will be, what will be regardless. And you can't control it. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't control other people's reactions, but you can control the fact that you are owning your truth. You are living a life that is in a true disposition now. and not letting that aspect of yourself bleed into every answer that you have to everything all the time. One thing that I've noticed some people try to play with, me in particular, by the way, it doesn't work. I'm way too evolved for that, adept for that, is they try and do the split thing. And I'm laughing a little bit because it makes me laugh, because to me it's cute, because it's so pathetic that you think that you have the audacity and arrogance to think that you can fracture yourself, the spiritual aspects of yourself, and be like, well, I have my work life and then I have my love life, and they're all separate. No, they're not. You are one person. Say, for example, if you were a doctor. Yes, you are a doctor when you examine your patients. Yes, you are a doctor when you perform your surgeries. When the doctor leaves the theatre, we haven't changed the doctor, we've just changed the environment. The doctor comes home to his wife and kids. Now he's a doctor at home. He's not in the theatre, he's at home. Don't use cheap, emotional manipulation of departmentalizing something to rationalize a level of inauthenticity. It doesn't work. That's why when I meet people and they can't manage their own life, their relationships are a fucking dumpster fire, their marriage is absolutely on the rocks, it's breaking down, am I somehow expected to believe that their ability to perform their job will suddenly magically be incredible? That somehow that part of them is disappeared? No, it's there. They can hide it, they can try not to focus on it, but it will be there. Same with me as an artist. I'm doing it right now. I'm getting this out of my heart for you to hear the passion in my words. Get it and get it good. How you feel is how you vibrate. How you vibrate is how you attract. If you're not vibrating at your highest frequency, you can't vibrate and connect to things that are also in the same vibration. I know I'm getting a little woo-woo, and I don't mean to, because I like to keep this straight to psychology, because I'm getting real here. But you get what I'm saying. That's why I've noticed a lot of same recognizes same. It's not a coincidence. The people around you are a reflection of yourself. And that's, yes, what I'm saying. I am alluding to that now. You may not have heard this before, but I have now come to understand that a lot of married, closeted men actually have closeted wives. After he comes out, it's not uncommon a couple of years later, yeah, she'll come out too. Because those two little souls have seen that they've both been hiding. This is common, by the way. Over all my years, I've seen this manifest quite a lot. They'll attract people that will also have the same level of hiding that they did. It's just human psychology. Same recognizes same. That works for evil. It works for good. It works for all aspects of self. That's why I'm very interested in people that mirror the same elements as me, because I can learn so much from them about myself through other people, because we're all aspects of the divine. We're all aspects of ourselves. So yes, living a true disposition in a relationship is the most important thing you can ever have, because a relationship with yourself is the most important thing you can have. And you have to have courage and you have to have strength to face that, and know that the best relationships you'll have will only come from you putting your best foot forward as you truly are. This can get very complicated when you've got kids, because the kids are going to be looking at you as a grown adult and you've come out now, and they're going to be like, I shouldn't have been born. And to a certain capacity, they have a point there. But what's done is done. This is complex, as we know. Psychology is complex. Consequences are a result of action. Action is a result of choice. We're basically living a life of all the choices that we've created. That creates our life. A choice of authenticity will always trump a choice of inauthenticity, even if it's just for, just a quick roll around and a fuck. Everything has a consequence. And so, yes, if you are out there and you are a gay man and you are playing around with a closeted man, I'm going back to that now, it's a very, very dangerous place to be, because they're going to be installing a consciousness in you that is going to create dysfunctional habits. If you are trying to build a relationship with them, it's going to be very difficult to do that. Okay, I've noticed this a lot with people because I've been around a long time. But yes, they might lure you in and try and make you feel like they have something to offer you. But I absolutely promise you, the moment that it starts to get real, they will abandon you. They will walk away at their earliest convenience because you're just there for entertainment. You're a doll that they're playing with. And like a doll, they only play with you when they want to. And you will notice that. Giving away your power to someone who treats you like shit and objectifies you and then doesn't even have the decency to even reply to you or connect with you, it's already weak. Nothing can come from that. Okay? This is how it goes. People like to create little characterizations of other people. They can't last. It's based on an aspect of Luciferian consciousness called desire. And part of desire is and there is a fair point to this because we are creatures of desire. I know I'm covering a lot of ground here, guys. This is very heavy chat, but it is real talk. Part of desire is we don't desire something that we already have. That's why creating space in a relationship is very important, because when we don't have space, we can't create desire. Do you understand? But the problem is someone else's curiosity and desire for another person is also operating on a level that can damage another person and cause trauma to another person by living in an underground life that's purely sexual. And by the way, if you're a gay man and you're out there, living a sexual life is fabulous. Wow. Yes, a blowjob is nice every now and then. Yeah, a hookup is okay every now and then. Yes, who doesn't enjoy a sugary donut? But a life of donuts is a sugary, meaningless hell. You did not come here just for purely sexual relationships, and you certainly did not come here for the paradox of playing or being played by other people as a toy to be discarded. That's not healthy for your soul. It just causes trauma bonding, and it will just hurt you even more. And by partaking in this stupid little game, you're only going to cause more suffering to other people too if you're playing this stupid little game. So get out of this nonsense and try to integrate aspects of other people just beyond reducing them to a doll, a dildo, or a blow-up doll, or toy, whatever. Connect with someone who's connected to themselves that can offer you heart connection, offer you soul connection, and get away with people and no longer interact with people that want to use you. And they use you by soliciting sex from you because you are the embodiment of the parts of themselves that they are ashamed of. That's why when you're interacting with people on these profiles like Grindr, Scruff, Go, Manhunt, Daddy Hunt, Tinder, maybe not Tinder, but any profile app that requires, or a hookup app that requires you to interact with someone that doesn't have a face pic, they don't have a face pic and they have blank stats on there for a reason, because they are hiding. This is not a place to come to if you're needing or looking for real connection. You'll be invited into the exploration of wasting time, fucking around, and it's like a sandwich. It's like a sandwich. Someone made you a sandwich. It looked good on the outside, and then after you eat it and you bite into it, it's filthy. Rotten cheese, moldy, it's all filthy. The tomatoes, it's rotten meat. There's nothing of substance in there. Now you're going to eat it and feel like shit afterwards. It's horrible. There's nothing of value there. We have to move away from inauthenticity and try and forge, if you even stand a chance at trying to create a relationship that is beautiful and grow something beautiful, that doesn't fragment you, that really encompasses you as a whole, and not going backwards in life, we have to move forward with people that are in truth, not professional liars. Closeted men are professional liars. This is a profession that we're talking about here. Don't take the lie. Don't listen to other people's lies. Don't let it into your heart. Don't integrate it, because there is no chance of success with that. Okay? I can't say this any other way than how I'm saying it, as directly as I can. Don't let someone manipulate you, use you, and abandon you. Anyone who's in a zone of indifference or ambivalence, they have to go. You just have to move away from them. It's only going to cause you more suffering once they ghost you, block you. It's like a real shock. It's a real trauma, and it causes suffering. You're basically worthless to them. And it also creates in psychology what we call a phase, which is very common, of an attachment style that is called insecure attachment style. And you may remember, I've talked about this before, is that we all have different attachment styles, and some of those attachment styles are not secure. So for us to have a future lover from the beginning, we have to be with someone who is already in a secure attachment style that is not in an ambivalent state. And this needs to be reinforced back to us, that they place value in us by placing value in themselves, so they have something to bring to the table to offer you, other than just being abandoned and used and psychologically deconstructing you. By the way, being used is not hot. It's a fantasy based on porn. Okay, and how well does that go for people? The suicide rates in the porn industry are off the fucking charts. And why is that? I wonder why. All right, so get real, because the glue that holds people is emotional connection. And this leads me to the end part of my video that I wanted to, or my podcast here that I wanted to come up and talk about today, was a lot of people that I have met really just don't have the ability to connect to anyone. They just don't. They don't want to. A lot of them don't know how to. A lot of them, particularly in the gay world, will keep themselves, and hey, it's kind of like a giant big orphanage, really. A lot of these gay men were never shown love. And because of that, they can't give something that they don't know or have. So there is a certain level of leeway that needs to be granted there. Okay, that's fair enough. But if you're operating from a narrative that's just through like snatch and grab mentality through these apps, and that's the culture of hookup culture, then after 10 years of that level of psychological, basically programming, you're going to be programmed to not recognize real potential with other people. You are going to lose the ability to connect to everyone. That's what these apps do. They create anxiety, and they capitalize off that by extorting you. Because if you were partnered, you wouldn't need to be on these apps and invite these people into your life that are going to hurt you. Because what it comes down to in the end is the human glue that holds and connects us together. And if we're conditioned from an environment that can't produce that, the human glue can never be expressed. Connections can never be formed. And this will never awaken, and it won't happen. And that's just what it is. It's quite torturous, actually. And if you're out there and you're listening, I really hope that you understand what I'm trying to communicate in this podcast, because we all kind of sometimes, when I was younger and I was very naive, I used to think that, that all humans had some level of, human glue, and everyone had it. And I was sadly mistaken to understand that very few people actually have it these days. Social conditioning, materialism, consumerism, all of these things are just distractions for the underlying problem that spiritual authenticity was never actually addressed to begin with. And it takes the human glue and connectivity to be able to connect with other people, to create growth and have a spiritual awakening, which is what we're supposed to be doing. So I don't really care what your excuse is. As far as I'm concerned, there are no excuses. At some point, you get off the free hook until a certain age, and then after that, I'm sorry, you're already halfway through your life. It's highly unlikely that this is all just going to magically flick a switch. So that's what I'm trying to refocus on here, is that simply coming out and owning your truth. And as soon as you do this, we can start to build relationships with other people that are healthy. When I hear stuff like, I can't come out because of my colleagues at work, are you really that concerned about what your colleagues think of you at work? Really? Your whole life is now completely controlled by what other people think of you. Me doing this video right now, I don't give a fuck. This is my truth. This is what I feel. You can agree with it or disagree with it. I don't care. But I'm telling you this for free. I'm telling you this from my heart. Don't let other people's opinions of you control your truth. Connect to the human glue within yourself so you can connect to the human glue within other people. It's literally that simple. Don't accept fake relationships, because what I'm seriously worried about here is that at the end of it, it's so crazy to even say this publicly. It's like to actually tell another person to actually seriously consider and care about another person. It's so crazy that would even need to be said, but that's the world that we're living in now. There is such little awareness and such little respect for people connecting to each other. Life is complicated, and I understand that, but the mental gymnastics that are required to produce the human glue requires effort. It requires a certain level of authenticity to be able to flex that muscle and flex your mind to create and maintain connection with other people that is real. Do you want to play make-believe, or do you want to have the real thing? Because I'm most certainly finishing up this video on this note, I'm here for the real thing. So if you're not real, I'm not interested, and neither should you. Respect yourself. Learn to distinguish between what is real and what is not real. All right? It cannot get any more simple than that. Show up for yourself so that you can show up for other people. Be a fucking leader in your life, and do this by owning your truth. Otherwise, you're just a victim and you're a fraud. It is what it is. Life is not simple. It's not. But it will get more simple and less complicated when you stop complicating it with lies. All right, I'm leaving it here. This probably was one of the heaviest videos I've ever done, but I will say that I think I've actually just said everything that I've had to say. Is that I'll leave the video on this note, is that in order to have love, we have to have some level of virtue. And so when we don't have any virtue in our morals, our love will be virtueless. I'm leaving it there and I'm putting that down. Please leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. Let me know of your thoughts. I am so open for any type of comment. Everyone's opinion is valid. This was my truth on the subject. This was the dangers of staying in the closet, the dangers of hiding, pretending, playing make-believe. Lots of love to you. Lots of truth to you. I will see you in the next video, and thank you so much for tuning in. Bye. Bye.